It's been an interesting few weeks since the last ball was kicked. We've had a few departures. We've been in the news quite a bit. Obviously our own news and obviously the social media and obviously the papers and whatever else. But apart from that, I mean, how's things going over the last sort of week or two since obviously we broke some stories and whatever else? How's everything going for you at the moment in the close season?
Well, obviously we lost Matthew and Kyle. Bangor have got on quite quickly and done their business, which is fair enough. That's the nature of the business. And by all accounts, you know, they've given the two boys a good opportunity, so that's fine. Bangor were one of the top teams in the league last year, really made a good play for it. We're obviously disappointed to see them go, but that's the nature of football. We'll have to move on, and we're very lucky that we've got some very good players here already. So that's the plan now. Them players who were blooded last year had a good championship season and a good learning season. We feel that they'll be much stronger for that this 24-25 season.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew obviously is a big loss. I mean, 23-24 goals last season. Kyle obviously big factor we're going to miss at the back as well. I mean, we've just spoke to our new centre tonight there, who's a centre half, so obviously he'll probably slot in that place as well. But again, as you say, football moves on, and we've got to move on obviously as a club, and obviously try and focus on the new season ahead. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, Jimmy's 22 years of age. He's had a significant amount of experience now at Cliftonville, his parent club, and then he was on loan at Ballymena last year. He's the type of player that we need. He's the type of player that I like, and I think he'd be a good acquisition to the football club. And also in the goal front as well. You know, David Parkhouse has had a difficult season last year when he came on. He had an injury when he came on through the training programme. Then when he got back at it, we kind of had a bit of momentum, and we had Tiernan and Spike playing at that time, and they were doing quite well. And then Michael, as we know, had a bereavement last year, and it was a difficult season for him. Yeah. But he's there still at the club, and Michael's staying. So we've really still got three top strikers in McClellan, Parkhouse and Tiernan O'Connor. Like Tiernan, as I say, didn't get on the team until November last year because again he came with an injury, missed all pre-season. Yeah. So them guys hopefully stay fit, stay injury free. Obviously pre-season they're already doing their work now, they're doing their prehab, and they're working hard with Andy Sang as we speak. And we're really lucky that we've got three top strikers. You know, as I say, Parkhouse 4 seasons ago was one of the leading goal scorers in the Electricity League, which is no mean feat as a 20-year-old for Derry City. So we're hoping he can recapture the form of them days, and he's had a good season. He had a settling in season last year at the Welders, and he likes the club. He enjoys the atmosphere here. It's just he hasn't had a run of it. And out of the four of them last year, in fairness, Spike was probably the only one that had a good run of it, and credit to him, he stayed fit and he was able to get on the team and make an imprint, and that's why he scored the 23 goals. But I'm sure Spike will tell you as well, you know, the training was centred on our attack and players like him, and the supply of the players that he had, particularly some of his headed goals last season. Obviously he's on the end of them crosses, so you know, we're hoping now that the other three boys will be the same, which I'm sure they will be. But as I says, Ferguson for the club was an outstanding striker, good servant, and we wish him well at Bangor. Yeah,
I mean, obviously this is close season. You know yourself, rumours go around, who's going where, who's going, who's staying. I'm sure probably we've had a lot of boys on about our certain players in our squad as well, which are quality players. I mean, over the next few weeks, obviously we're going to see a few heads coming in, I'm sure of that. And at the moment, I mean, are you happy enough with obviously what we'll have at the minute going forward, or is there certain positions you're wanting to look at and obviously try and strengthen for next year? Because we talked about that in the Dell game, where obviously next season we want to try and push even further in the league.
Well, we have to push. There's no doubts about that. We kind of fell away in the split games, which was unfortunate. We have a very good squad. I'm very happy with it. There is a couple of players, there's no question. They're talented young boys who could go in the Premiership now. We've got players under contract next year. We're going to retain them. There is interest in players that we've got. Of course. Obviously, there's going to be, because they are good young players. Having managers on speaking about them, but the fact is, you know, we've got a job to do here, and I know most of these young players would like to try and push for the Premiership with the Welders. Obviously, next year, as this year has proven, or the season past, like the competition is healthy, you know, and it's going to be the same next year. So we're ready for that competition. We have to be, and as you rightly say, we're now looking for certain targets, not just anybody for the sake of signing it. So we're quite select. We've got a good squad and the main, but we do need a couple of areas covered. So we're not talking massive amounts of players. We're talking maybe 2 or 3. And then obviously we're looking at some younger players as well being integrated into the squad as well, be that from the 21s, be that from our scouting. We've had a couple of players identified who are playing locally in and around the amateur league who may be coming in as well. So I think we'll have a really healthy pre-season. We've got a good schedule planned. We're going to Korean northwest area again. We're actually staying in Bushmills on the 5th and 6th, where we play Port Stewart and Korean, so we're looking forward to that, and that'll get the boys to get to know each other, and we'll have 2 very good games and a nice weekend as a group.
And you just touched on the 21s there. I mean, they had an unbelievable season again, back-to-back league champions. I mean, you were there last week when they were given the league title. I mean, is this another option you have for next season? Because I mean, there's a couple of boys there who will be obviously an overage player. There's a few players there have stood out the last couple of weeks, like Kane Stewart you brought in against Knockbreda, Kai McGuigan, young goalkeeper as well. Is there some of them players there you're sort of looking at to maybe try and see what they've got the offer for the championship for next season?
Well, Dylan Agnew will be number 2 next year, and obviously he'll play games pre-season as well. He's one for the future, no question about that. He's got all the attributes to become a top goalkeeper. The thing is about the championship, it's getting better and stronger, and the gap between the 21s and the championship is quite high, but we do have good players in the 21s. And you have to have players progressing. No point in doing the 21s if you can't get players out of it. You have to do it, and you have to take risk with some of them. So players will be coming in, as I said to Mark, 21 manager, and I'll be saying to players, they'll have an opportunity to perform in games, and then they have to show that they're ready. I'm not saying they're going to be ready for the first game of the season, but they have to show something that they've got a stamp they make an impression on the team, and that's what we're looking for. So if they're ready for October, November time, I'd be happy. And listen, as you say, Kane Stewart, this is a good season. I always like Mark McDowell as a player.
Fantastic striker.
Yeah, he's always good with ball, but he's just been so unfortunate with injuries. Ryan Moore's had unfortunate with injuries. Big Max Kennedy, I liked him from day one ability wise, but again, the physical nature of the championship, he has to be. They all have to be fit, strong, ready to be competitive. Young Kyle McGuigan's been outstanding. He's been on the team actually not last season, the season before, when we were short in numbers. I like him as a player, and he's been a good captain in that 21 setup.
I mean, we'll see a few of them maybe appear in pre-season to take a good look at them and see what they have to offer.
They'll come on.
Teams.
Yeah, they'll come on and do pre-season, and they'll play in certain games as well. Like for example, Crusaders game, the first game of the season, because it's quite close. Like most of the players only play 45 minutes, so some of them boys will have an opportunity in that type of game. Some of them might play 45, some of them might play 25. Depends on what numbers I've got, because we could end up with a big squad pre-season. You're talking maybe 30 plus players, and sometimes managing that's difficult, but I want to make sure that come the 31st when the window shuts, I'm really happy with that 24 group that we've got. And listen, we might put some players out in loan. There's clubs coming on this all the time looking for players and go away, because they've all been indoctored. Them younger players under Welders set up now, they like it, they feel comfortable here, but they might need to go and play adult football somewhere else. They cannot go drop down a level to come back up a level, because that physicality is difficult. And as this is the league last year, some of our games were really rough and tough, rough and tumble, and the players aren't ready for that. Then we're going to struggle. So we have to be making sure all our players are combative. Yeah,
now you just touched on the championship. Obviously, being it was a physical season, you would agree with that. I mean, Portadown run out league champions. I mean, a few weeks before the end of the season, you never thought even they were going to get there, but they did. Championships talked about many times, so predictable. But I'm sure next season, with obviously the likes of the Bangors and other clubs coming down from the Premiership as well, are going to be tough, like the Newry Cities and all. Next season is going to be a lot more tougher, would you agree, than what it was this season?
Well, you've like the top 6 last year, plus then you've got Ballyclare, who will always be making a dent. Newington, traditionally the last 2 seasons, have started really well. They're always been around a city team in Belfast as well, with access to good players, good catchment. Ballymallard are always a formidable force. So there, before you talk, there's 9 teams, before you start talking. Yeah. And as you say, Newry have replaced Portadown. So,
and even the ones that come up from the PIL too, the likes of the Limavadis.
Well, Limavady I know quite well. I know most of their players very well. Obviously, someone would have played for us in the past, played for me as on my development programs, and I know Paul Owens very well. And then Armagh City as well, with Shea Campbell, who's experienced striker in the Irish League. They'll be a strong team. They'll be looking to pick up as many points as they can at home park in Armagh. So the good thing about it is it will be probably the most competitive championship season that we've ever had, and to be like that you have to have a real strong squad, doubled up in every position, and players pushing each other for that position, and then plus the fact players being hungry, more importantly wanting to learn, which we've had. We've got a real good young squad there now. Between majority of players is aged between 19 to 24, 25, you know, and then we've got a couple of experienced hands like a Harris's this word and the Michael McClellan's. So we've got a really good, healthy squad, and they will be much better for their experiences last year. They'll know what they expect now when we go to certain grounds, and we have to be more than ready for them when we're playing them games.
I want to ask you quickly as well about Dan McMurray. I mean, Dan McMurray, we're going to announce here tonight, is come on part of the coaching staff, which is obviously a big thing for Dan. Dan's been here, 14 years now. He's a key in the dressing room, would you say, because he's very vocal. You know what Dan's like, especially on the bench as well. Can I get more information on him, obviously what his role going to be? Because I mean, he's obviously going to be in the background, sort of with the players and stuff like that. Because I mean, Dan's, you know yourselves, a Welders man through and through. He wears his heart in his sleeve every week. He's a full-on club man. What's his role coming in that obviously to assist you and obviously your background team? What's Dan's role going to be officially? I mean,
well, Dan's going to be like player liaison, player welfare, if you like, player care, and that really is. Dan's brilliant with players. He's been a good captain, as you say, and really the younger players, he has to get them introduced to the Welders, the culture at the Welders, what's expected. To say we're in a working class area. East Belfast, Dan understands what's needed, and some of our players sometimes are coming from different cultures, different areas, and they have to really embrace it, respect what is trying to be done here at the football club. And as I say, Dan has been brilliant this year around the team. He hasn't played a lot, but he knows he's coming to the end of his career, and I have a duty of care to the club, not only to produce better, good players, but also to produce future coaches, potential future managers, you know. So Dan's starting that road now of doing licences, going on to it and being a coach. He will be influential in the change room. He'll also be influential in the dugout. I want him in the dugout match days because he's quite, as you say, vocal. He knows, he's a good motivator. He does. He's got good understanding of the game, and him and Graham Filson work closely together, I feel. And that will be, I think that'll be a tremendous benefit to players. They'll be the go-to people, particularly Dan, when players are looking for stuff. Dan will be organising, helping with social events and any concerns that they've got. Dan will be looking after fines, for example. So really, it's an important job that he's got, because we're football all the time, and sometimes you have to cater for the needs of the players. And they're all human beings, and they've got lives and works and families and things to do. And as I say, Dan's connected to that, and he'll do a good job because he's a good person. And he's a massive character in the dressing room, as he's touched on there. I mean, he knows how to motivate boys. He knows how to sort of get into the boys and sort of tell them, you know, this is the way it should be and all. And he is a massive person to have in your dressing room. Would you agree with that? Oh, he is. I know what I'm saying. He's definitely club centred, and he understands the culture of football club, and all the players have to do that as well. And he's brilliant on the dugout, and he's brilliant on the change room, and he's been good for us now. He's been good. He knows how to manage the information that he receives, and he understands the information that he gets. And listen, all we're trying to do is service the players as best we can, and we know that Dan McMurray will play a big part in that next year. And finally, I mean, I ask you this every summer when I sit down and talk with you. The goal for next season is obviously, would it be to get higher than what we've got the last two seasons, obviously, to try and be up there and round about the mix at the end of next season? Well, the goal is to get promotion. The goal is to be the best team. As I said, you can't be arrogant and say we're going to be the best team, because we're not. You know, we're not. We've got so much to get through that first, and that is the games, the understanding, the play, the pre-season, getting a couple of players that we need, and I think we'll be thereabouts. You know, I'm not saying, you know, maybe other people might say differently, because I know some stuff's been said about losing players and all the rest of it, but the club's more bigger than anybody, me, you, or any player. So I think that we've got players who could do well. I'm not disputing the fact that the players that we've had, and we've always said this, that players will leave this club better for it in the last year, and I think that's been the case. But I do feel that we've got players who will be capable of playing Premiership. There's already interest of some of our players in that field. I do think now it's up to the squad to show how much desire, hunger, fight, determination they've got to win this. But in terms of all the teams we played last year, apart from a couple of disappointing performances where we maybe let ourselves down through different characteristics, you know, first game of split, obviously Bangor away was a poor performance, Ards here, a poor performance, the 3-0 game. the Ballinamallard game away, the 4-0 game, another poor performance. So there's maybe 5 games that we were really disappointed, but on the main, the 36 games, we were on most of them. So we need to kick that on and have better points return, than last year. And obviously, with the way the split happened, the top 5, right up until the second half, like Dundela were going second, and then when we scored, obviously Spike scored them goals later on, they ended up going dropping to 5th. You know what I mean? So it's crazy how that league worked. So as I said, it's fine margins, and we need to make sure their margins are better brushed up on, and we need to get closer to the teams above, and I think we're capable of doing that for sure.